exactly there, and that is how it should be. Thank you very much. Well, in other programs, a governor comes late and will be announcing and stop the program. Thank you very much, Excellency. Well, I'm proud of the family of Sofola, because no doubt, sir, Mr. Kehinde Sofola was a wealthy Nigerian lawyer, was rich. But we are not here today to celebrate his prosperity. We are here to celebrate his ideas, his integrity, his courage, and his commitment to the rule of law in our country, for which I congratulate you. And I do hope that you will continue this program on an annual basis. The definition of rule of law has been given by a very good friend who refused to make his paper available to me. I harassed him up to 10 p.m. last night because I was worried and I wanted to know what he was coming to say. When I saw his name and that the Emir of Kano was going to be present here, I was very worried. I thought this was going to be a guardian of the Nigerian bourgeoisie. But now I'm confident, I'm very happy when I saw my comrade, Muhammad, my Lord, and of course, my sister, Professor Usagwe. I'm happy that we are having a cross-fertilization of ideas on the rule of law in our country and the role of the legal profession. When I was extremely generous in his analysis of the legal profession in Nigeria, that as usual, he paid glowing tribute to our lawyers and judges, including those who are dead, but said very little about the present generation of lawyers that have betrayed the lives of Kehinde Sofola. Even our leader here, Mr. Femi Falana, anytime we are discussing the state of our profession, and like you will ask Femi, are you sure this is taking place in our courts? So if we are there to discuss the legal profession, we must be very frank with ourselves, because the late Kehinde Sofola was very frank, brutally frank with lawyers and judges. I remember at this time, if you were a bad lawyer, and you didn't dress properly, you could be sure that Mr. Kehinde Sofola would deal with you. This young lawyer came here as if he was coming from a mechanic's workshop, badly dressed. And Mr. Kehinde Sofola told him, please, you cannot go into that court the way you are dressed. And this young man thought it was a joke. He ran to the court through another door. And of course, Baba entered the court. He said, my Lord, this young man cannot appear in this court today. And of course, that was it. That was Mr. Kehinde Sofola for you. At that time, notwithstanding the fact that many judges passed through his chamber, he was never associated, even remotely, with corrupt practices and dangerous influences around judges. But sir, that is no longer the case today with many of our senior lawyers. Sometimes when you're on the other side, now you'll be shivering because you already know that your colleague has acquired a reputation for corruption, and you want to say you are helpless in the circle. We shouldn't be helpless. Rule of law is about rule of the country according to law. But is that what is going on today? Are lawyers happy to ensure that our country is governed in accordance with the Constitution or the rule of law? No. The Emir of Kano, as the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, as it was, once made a statement in a university, I think a millennium, where he told Nigerians the danger of allowing a few people in the National Assembly to take about 25% of the recurrent expenditure of the country. And And of course, the National Assembly people roared like a lion. And they were going to devour him. And I look at the Constitution that came out to say, how dare you? They say it should be someone, just like the Controller General of Customs. He was someone, but he was lucky he was not asked to appear in any uniform. But I came out to say, the governor should not go. Because you have no powers under Section 88 of the Constitution, which allows you to only carry out investigation if you are making a law or you want to expose corruption. Somebody has made a statement you thought was libelous. Well, where have you got the power to summon into the National Assembly? And the emir said, well, I told me that your legal advice is okay, but I'm going to dare them. And the emir appeared before them, the governor, and told them, I mean what I said. Of course, they were defeated on that occasion. But the point I'm trying to make, if we are going to run this country in line with the rule of law, you can't use the parliament, the National Assembly or the Status of Assembly to summon everybody you have disagreement with who has brought out the policy of the government that you do not like. That is not what Section 88 is all about. The other point for us as a people, if we want the rule of law, fidelity to the law. The cantankerous American president, Mr. Donald Trump, after his very controversial travel ban on about 7 Muslim countries, is now modified and reduced to 6 now. As soon as the court, the circuit court, and I think about 4 of them, gave orders that the ban was illegal, in all his majesty, President Trump adjusted to the law and showed fidelity to the rule of law by complying with the order. If it were here, the Attorney General would say, we shall wait until the Supreme Court makes a pronouncement, which may take the next 10 years, and the regime will have been gone. The second one, Zuma of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, said South Africa was going to pull out of the International Criminal Court because he was embarrassed when a court ordered that the president of Sudan, Omar Bashir, should be arrested. But as soon as the High Court in Pretoria said it was illegal to pull out because there is a law that has asked South Africa to go and sign the Rome Statute. The bill that was in Parliament to legitimize the pulling out has now been withdrawn in accordance with the decision of the court. Is that the case here? As we're gathered here, rule of law. When the governor of the Central Bank was sacked, illegally, apart from going to the court to challenge his son, he also went to court to challenge the seizure of his passport, which was illegal. And the Federal High Court here gave an order to the Fed that the seizure was illegal and 50 million naira reparation was awarded to him. But the passport was not released, the money has not been paid. Now, but he doesn't need the money any longer. I can assure you. Now, but today, a couple, a man and a wife, have been detained for over a year for committing no offense under a democratic government. Because I'm happy that while in his paper, dwelt in extenso or military decrees and the supremacy of their power. But what is going on there? In December last year, December 2nd, I got a judgment in Abuja to the fact that the legal detention of Nsaki and his wife cannot be justified under their law. The court ordered their release, awarded 50 million naira damages to them, and asked the government to provide a temporary accommodation for them because the government had demolished, government in Kaduna, had demolished their house while they were in detention. they are still in detention. It's actually the first time in the history of Nigeria that the man and his wife have been detained illegally. And there are many other orders that have been disobeyed. What is the legal profession doing about it? What is the Nigerian Bar Association doing? Under the Akabashoro presidency, 1987 to 1989, over a disobedience to one single court order by military dictator, the NBA went on a boycott of courts. And until that order was complied with, the order of the court, we didn't go back. And throughout that era, the military never disobeyed court order. But today, that has become the order of the day. Well, yes, I agree with you about supremacy. But please, and I think we must pass this to the current government. Even in those days of draconian decrees, once a court gave an order, you could ensure that the order will be obeyed. And I just give you one instance. The Concord was shut down, the Concord newspaper, and we went to court. Even it was a decree that thou shalt not question what has been done. If you are questioning it, it is illegal. But it was on a very small point that the court found a way out, unlike now. Concord, the decree says a premises can be sealed off. But in the instrument sealing off the premises, the people either they didn't go to school or they were very careless. They said the Concord premises is hereby sealed up, not sealed off. And I submitted to the court that you can't seal up a premises, you can seal up a bottle. And that was not the intended of the law. On that score, the late Justice James Oduneye ordered that the closure be declared illegal and asked that the military guys should leave the place. On another occasion, a man was detained under Decree 2, enacted by President Buhari in 1984. The man that was to be detained was Adegbe Oronoa, NOAH. But when they brought the detention order, he read Adegbe Oronoa, NUAH. And we told the court, we are talking of two different persons. And again, the court ordered the man's release from detention, that the government wanted to detain Adegbe Oronoa and not this Adegbe Oronoa. And that was it. But now, under a democratic government, people in Abuja and most of our state government believe that they are above the law. And we have attorneys general, many of them senior and local. Don't worry, Your Excellency. We will be in court for the next 10 to 15 years, by which time you are out of power. When you do that, you are subverting the rule of law. Just the final point on the rule of law. Because Amambi Wale said so much about how speedy trial in the First Republic and the Second Republic. And one of the cases Wale cited is that of Nabi Rafiu and the state, which was very well publicized in Kano. If Sofola will leave Lagos for Kano for that case, speedily done, from the High Court to the Supreme Court. But today, when you are paid well, you have your plan. Do you want a trial, or you want us to delay the trial? If you are dealing with a bad lawyer, this is a confessional statement. You pay for wasting the time of court and the resources of the state. In that same Kano, the case of Abacha and the state, from the High Court to the Supreme Court, lasted 14 years on a very frivolous objection, i.e., the immunity of my father extended to me. That was the point that was fought by former president of the NBA, Dawodu JPWSA, from the High Court to the Supreme Court. By the time they finished, 14 years later, the witnesses had disappeared, and the government was forced to withdraw the case. But what has been done is that the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 has now banned stay of proceedings. So cases are now going on. A governor has just been jailed in Adamawa power, even though the court asked him to choose a prison of his choice. I don't know what Justice Okunu in Lagos here has gained a number of subsidy suspects. Others are going on. But what are our senior lawyers have devised a new strategy to defeat Anti-Criminal Justice Act. When you now have a witness, you will cross it. I mean, a single witness for 15 days. I'm talking of 15 times, but the cases are done. And you ask all the questions of this world, from the color of his car to the color of his dress and the rest of them. And so we are against subverting the rule of law. And I think, Wale, this is very important for us as senior lawyers to call our colleagues to order before we destroy the rule of law completely in Nigeria. I'm happy the MN is here. When we are discussing the rule of law in Nigeria, and I'm speaking of justice, as I said here about a month ago, we simply forget that the majority of our people, the masses, have been totally removed from our elitist courts. We have this court, which was why Wale was saying we should now have special universities where judges are trained. Yeah, that is okay for America and Britain. Not here. No. The children of the poor must be lawyers too. Some of them must be judges. But what is going on now? AIG will be under. Cases decided by the police daily are by far greater than cases decided in our courts. In all the palaces of our traditional rulers, the poor go to them because they are confident. They don't appeal against such cases when they go to traditional rulers. What are we doing about this type of cases? This type of justice? We are not concerned. We are not doing anything about it. Just define that one, sir. Shakespeare, in one of his books, and I think it was Henry's, where there was a rebellion. Dick the Pusher was the leading member of the rebellion, convinced that lawyers would stand in the way of the revolution. He said, the first thing we should do, let us kill all the lawyers. If you ask the Nigerian people today, they will also say, let us kill all the lawyers because they have colluded with our judges to mete out injustice to them. But I think a lecture like this challenges us to think about our society. And Emir, we want to assure you that as long as you continue to challenge those very reactionary backward policies that keep down the poor and the people, the women, please, you have our qualified support.